Cannibals functioning on pheromones. Rational thought lost to extinctual. Today on the Manspace. Welcome to the Manspace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter.
What the crap was that?
Welcome, Spacemen. Matt's confused. Take a deep, deep whiff of the smell of the Manspace. That's what we're talking about today. That's a song lyric from NoFX, a song called Dig. From Punk and Drublick.
It sounded like some gibberish that we were just reading, so
when you kept saying it, I kept thinking about the line functioning on pheromones.
Oh.
Rational thought lost to instinctual.
Oh, rational
thought lost to instinctual.
I thought it was that I heard rational thought lost to instinctual.
Oh.
I was like, what?
Honestly, I never knew. I always thought it said rational thought lost to extinction one, because like he sings it weird, and it's like, everyone go listen to NoFX or don't.
Probably not.
That album came out. Did that album come out in '94?
Probably. It was probably right there with everything else that was good in life.
Let's Dead Airspace. Well, I look up when Punk and Drublick came out. Someone tell me off the top of their head. Nobody knows. That was a very good album, though. No, I don't want to see that.
Dude, even Snoop Dogg couldn't deny it. You remember that video?
1984.
Where he's like, 1993. And he holds up four fingers. He knew 94 was going to be a better year.
It was a better year. Came out July 19th, 1994.
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago.
So
almost
30,
exactly.
Today is the
almost
30th
day.
Anniversary. Well, so not today. This year is the 30th anniversary to society's peak.
That's true. As far as music goes, we peaked. 1994. That album has one of NoFX's songs that everyone loves, Linoleum.
Yeah.
Isn't that the year that...
What?
Mike? Isn't that the year Resignation came out?
No,
that was
They came out in like
2099.
No, it was like 2001.
Weren't they doing their 25th anniversary?
I don't think so.
Isn't that why they re-released the...
I thought it was 20th anniversary.
Oh, maybe.
I like the idea of someone listening to this being like, just, guys, stop. 2003 it came out.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, though, if there's a Spotify playlist for 1994.
You thought we were going to be talking about smells, but no. Instead, we're talking about how good
the
1994
peak of music
was.
Well, I'm sure there were also some good smells in 94.
Ooh.
How about the 1994 Billboard Top 100?
Guess.
You know what's weird about that? You know what was on the Billboard Top 100 in 94? Okay. Never mind.
Do you know what the top cologne for men was in 1994?
What?
I don't know. Guess.
Okay, well, I thought I was going to be surprised in a good way, but I'm not.
Oh.
Number one, I think. I guess these were all just number ones throughout 94, so no particular order. The Sign by Ace of Base.
Oh, man.
I swear by All for One.
That's terrible.
I'll Make Love to You
Obviously.
by Boyz II Men,
Yep.
Rob's favorite song.
Yep. Very good one.
Man, there's
Classic.
nothing like. I think the thing that was different in '94 was like a lot of like punk and grunge stuff.
Yep.
Started hitting the Billboard for the first time.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
there's
when, like,
Loser by Beck.
Dookie came out that year.
But yeah, it's just a lot of.
Hey, if you're wondering,
Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John.
if you're wondering, just go ahead and pick your top fragrance. What you think would have been the smell of 1994. I had three in my head. And
There
Drakkar
was
Noir.
one. There, I can't even remember the names of them, man.
Polo.
Wasn't Curve?
Was that 94?
Yeah, it might have been a little before 94.
So here's my top pick was Obsession.
For men
Yeah.
or for women?
Obsession for
Do you
Men.
remember the Obsession for Women bottle? It was like this weird, like egg, like
Yeah.
oval thingy. Yeah.
The Obsession for Men was kind of eggy. Do you remember? I feel like in the 90s, and maybe it was just the friends I hung out with, all we did was go and get, like, we'd go get cologne samples all over the place.
little
They'd send them
tiny-
in the mail.
You want me to tell you what an a-hole I was at that age?
What? I
My
can't.
friend and I would go into like Nordstrom, walk up to the perfume counter and just stick the entire like spray part of the bottles in our nose and go, oh, that's good. Just watch the people get super irritated.
I was going to say, this is funny. Mike, Drakkar Noir was number 9 on the list.
Really? Number 9?
Noir. Yeah.
Where'd you
Aqua
find
de
this
Joe
list?
on
I want
there
to know where you
Aqua
got
de
this
Joe's
list
on
from.
here. I feel like that's when it would have come out. Like, I feel like Aqua de
I
Joe
feel like
came
that
out
was
a
a
little
bit
later.
later.
Yeah.
That was my college scent.
They don't have on here the third one because the top 3 I thought, well, I should say 4 because I did think of Drakkar, but I wasn't sure it would land.
Mm-hmm. That
But
one's real musky.
Very. But I also thought that I thought Eternity for Men would have been on here,
Oh, right.
but I don't see it. The other one that apparently I'm stuck in 1994. I still wear my hat backwards. Like, oh, there it is at the bottom, number 10.
Eternity.
Is Eternity. But the other one, number 3, is what I still wear today,
Wait, you wear
Cool
cologne?
water.
almost every day. Cool Water.
What?
It's such a mild cologne, though, that
You don't?
people don't know.
I
No, Matt's
don't.
wearing it now.
Like, this
We'll
is
get
my
to that-
first go at
we'll get
a
to that
daily
later.
thing, but I'm told. Well, we'll get
You
into that.
Smell like a dillweed.
No, I like scents, but typically, like, I try to get them through my deodorant and my lotion.
But those go away.
Mm.
They don't
Deodorant
linger.
kind of like hangs out. I don't know. Well,
That's true. Mine does. And I
I'm
do
a
have
big,
a lotion that I like the smell of.
I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Bath and Body Works. Has a bunch of like body sprays
You body spray?
and yeah,
Is it
body
called
spray.
Axe?
It is not because that's gross.
Don't. My kids listen. I think my kids had
speaking
Axe
of
for a while.
lotion, dude, I've told you this
Dude,
story
I've got
before.
the lotion for you.
Well, I use like lotion like as aftershave, basically.
Oh, I have an aftershave that I use, but I
Yeah.
also have a lotion that I
just
freaking love.
Yeah, I'll rub it on my face, but it's primarily like as an aftershave. But when I was a collections officer back in the day, there was an account that was overdrawn, so I was talking to the account holder. I was just like, he's like, "What? How am I overdrawn? Read through these charges for me." So I start reading through, and I'm like, and I can't remember how much it was, but it's something at Victoria's Secret. And like before I could even finish, he's like, "I buy the lotions," and I was like, "Okay, dude." I wasn't saying anything or implying anything, but is that supposed to be better? Like, I buy the lotions. Like,
It puts the lotion on. I wonder how many men have stopped listening to this point. Like, we're talking about colognes and lotions.
I will say this: I just discovered on like this platform that has like communities you can join to learn and things like that. There is a community called Men of Scent, something like that. But yeah, if you want to be a man learning about fragrances, that's the place to be. And it's funny, the rules are like, we're not going to belittle each other. We're just going to talk about this and be interested in it.
I was going to say, for any men who use lotion but don't like the kind of sticky feeling you get with lotion, I found this stuff called Nivea Men. I think it's just called Breathable. Dude, it smells good. It's freaking awesome.
I still use the Old Spice.
But it's like lotion. It's
Lotion?
not like
Yeah.
No, this
aftershave.
one's a lotion for like my arms or my legs because I pamper myself.
Yeah, you wouldn't think I would need lotion here for that.
I wouldn't
But-
think so either, but Becky's pointed out
I
many
do,
times that,
yeah.
and people have been like, your legs look really ashy. I'm like, yeah, I guess they are. And then I put lotion on. I'm like, my legs look glorious. Mike did once follow me up the stairs going into the office, and he's like, dude, your calves are incredible.
It's true.
Although I have a friend named Dustin and his calves. I'm like, what? it's like you have little sacks of cement there in those calves, man. It's like, he's like, oh, it's just genetic. My grandma has them. I was like, your grandma has them.
Herculean calves.
Dude,
They're incredible.
Scooter has
Incredible
Scooter's
calves.
calves are insane.
I'll have to look next time I hang out with him.
Yeah, he's got giant
All right.
rocks.
He's got huge tracts of land.
huge.
My son, he's 13. He didn't know what the Trojan horse was because my daughter was like, was the Trojan horse going to the Trojans, like to Troy or from Troy?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I don't think I actually know.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked it up.
To
And it
Troy,
was
right?
It was the
to
Greeks
Troy, right?
giving a gift to the Trojans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Spencer's like, what is that? And the only way I could reference is like, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they build the giant rabbit and send it into the castle. And then he's like, and then Lancelot and I jump out. He's like, what, you jump out? He's like, yes. It's like, that show, dude. If you've not seen that movie in a long time, go back and watch it again. The scene where King Arthur comes up on this, it's a husband and wife who are gathering filth.
Mm-hmm.
They're just picking up mud. There's lovely filth over here. And they have this whole, like, they're just digging for filth, but have this whole description of how they function because you're not our king.
Mm-hmm.
We have a complex system of government and it talks about we each take turns in rotation. And that's at some point when he does something and he starts yelling out, I'm being repressed. I'm being repressed. Oh, dude, when I was a kid, it went right past me. It's like the funniest part of the movie. Anyway, okay, fine. We can talk about scents again. Don't forget Spacemen, by the way. We have to decide on a specific date for this so we can all make sure we listen or reread Dave Grohl's book,
right.
The Storyteller. That's the book you have to pick up, The Storyteller, so you can be a part of our Manspace book club.
We said last week that it was 4 weeks from last week.
So that means
4 weeks from the time it would have recorded, or that they would have heard it, which is, I guess, 4 weeks from today.
Which for you, Spaceman, is July 24th. 3rd.
today's the 24th.
So whatever 4 weeks from today is.
July 24th, 2024.
Which means, hold on, we're going to let it counter this.
It's the 20th.
The 20th of August is the day that it
Nope,
will
the
air. So that
21st.
means we'll be talking about it on the 14th.
The week before.
Yeah.
But Spacemen,
Okay.
come prepared to listen and have read the book on the 21st of August.
I think that's right.
And send us your feedback via the little send message button or whatever it is.
Which, if you
Now-
want to send feedback in time for us to record and reference your feedback, you need to send it
Oh,
prior to the 14th
That'd
of
be
August.
interesting. That's true. Do that. You should send us stuff before August 14th. So start reading the book now so you can send your thoughts to us. Maybe we'll
Clicking on the send us a message or send us a text.
send text message.
But that's only in Apple Podcasts, right?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not on YouTube. I know that.
No, I'm saying if they're using Spotify or
Right. I just know it's
Something
not on
else.
YouTube. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's on Spotify. I don't use Spotify anymore. I sold out.
Rob.
I know. I'm super cool. So
Super something.
that's super cool. I already said it. It's already been said. Just thought it was
I
obvious.
clarified that, Mike. Idiot.
As another side note, before we get into this, I have to tell you guys a story. My sister and I Marco Polo a lot, and now they've included an AI function where it will summarize for you. I can't.
Yeah.
Some of these things are like, it's like, geez, AI, judge you much? Like one of them says something like, Rob starts to ramble and gets frustrated at various things. It's like, oh, geez. Starts to ramble. And it's like Marianne talks about the mundane parts of life. It's like, oh, gosh, I didn't know you had so much value judgment in what I was saying.
By the way, you can send a text message through Spotify.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because that feature's all through Buzzsprout, who hosts the podcast. So I guess it pushes it out to all the different platforms. So you can just click right on that and send us a message.
You
Tell
better
us
get
your
reading.
thoughts.
Send us your thoughts about Dave Grohl's Storyteller.
Yeah. Oh, also, just so you know, AI is also telling me I'm doing a good job with processing things. Rob
good
appears to
job,
be
buddy.
processing a range of thoughts and experiences.
That's from Marco Polo still?
Yeah, that's the summary from Marco Polo. So stupid.
Who knew you could get such validation as from Marco Polo?
or such judgment. So today we're talking about men and scents with a C, an SC. I guess it's very confusing if I say it the other way.
Not monies, smells.
Not money, our smells. Men and smells, and what's going to make your wife most attracted to you.
Or not.
Or not. Matt, tell us about your
Depends on
new
how much your
cologne
wife
you
likes
bought.
stillweed.
She does not.
Tell us about the cologne you bought that smells like Nelson.
This was the interesting thing about this whole experience was, we'll get there, but it wasn't an attractive scent to the females.
That's true.
But so,
Or to Rob.
well, now you're saying it.
No, I told you it does. I think it smells good at first. It just has this dill aftertaste. But go
It
ahead.
does. I smell that more now. But so I was on my trip up to Washington. We were staying at a hotel at one point, and I was going into the elevator just as my brother was coming out, and I was just hit with this smell where I was like, dude, I want that. I don't know what I just instantly felt like that's a good smell and I want that on me. So,
I want that on me.
So anyway, we met up later in the lobby, and I just figured it was like deodorant or something he was using. So I'm like, hey dude, what kind of deodorant are you using? He's like, he sticks his wrist out to me, and I'm like, what are we doing? You put it on your wrist?
What's happening?
So I smelled it, and anyway, so it's a cologne that I guess we can semi-sponsor today. It's a brand called Guy Fawkes, and this is the Nelson scent.
We don't want to sponsor them. We want them to sponsor us.
Oh yeah, other way around. Anyway, maybe it'll get back.
We
to
can
it, but-
endorse them.
endorse. So he was telling me like his wife had bought him a cologne. This part cracks me up because apparently the cologne that she bought him smelled like Coca-Cola.
Ooh.
And she was like, oh, it smells like Mark. So she bought that for him, and I don't know if he hated it or just didn't like it, but anyway, he bought this, which is Nelson, which is a blend. It has a fruity bouquet. It's a blend of eucalyptus, sandalwood, and American cedar. So,
Not to be confused with Europeans, too. That stuff smells like junk.
right. But he told me, like, he's a general contractor. He runs a remodeling business, and so, like, several of his subcontractors were like, "Oh man, you smell good." So he's getting like positive feedback from the men, but not so much the ladies. And same thing when I got it and put it on, because my wife wasn't on that trip with me, so I bought it so she could smell it, and not impressed. She was like, "It doesn't smell like it should be a cologne." Like, it's not a bad smell, but it's like maybe not the scent I would think of for a cologne. Anyway,
Dude, I feel like it's not aided by the fact that it's called Nelson.
no, I know.
Well, what are you wearing? Arthur.
Nelson.
I want Arthur on me.
I need to pull up now what the other names of the scents are, because I don't think they're all
I'm on their
dudes' names.
website. No, they're
You're on
not.
their website?
They do have a grant.
Colognes and candles.
Yeah, Mickle,
That's not Michael.
Mikul. I don't know.
Oh,
That's
okay.
not how I would spell Michael.
Michael. Maybe he's
Mara.
French.
Sure. They usually pronounce it Michelle. So
There's an
probably
AI
not.
scent quiz.
JP
Hefe,
They have-
Primo.
Yeah, they have Hefe,
Nelson,
Vince.
which is the woodsy
Tyler,
and green
Vince.
one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
Preston.
names, man.
Vince, Tyler. Yeah, they have a lot of dudes' names.
Preston.
Primo and Hefe.
Dude, look at Preston. What the crap is a Tonka
where-
bean?
I don't
It's
know.
like
but I
hauled
must
by the Tonka truck.
Tonka bean.
Crisp apple, pink pepper, and tonka bean.
Yeah. So a lot of them are guys' names.
Hey, good
Ginger
news.
apple
The
and cashmere
Vince,
wood.
listen to Vince. Crushed lime, mint gin. So alcohol, you smell like a
I'm
drunk.
chewing gum.
And sunset
never mind.
musk.
Wow.
That's the sense of Vince.
Cashmere wood. These
And
names are
pretty
like,
much all of them are bestsellers. So it's hard to tell But if you take the AI
All
quiz,
have
but
less
anyway,
than 100 reviews.
but this whole thing just got me thinking about like what was like it was weird, man. It was like just an instant draw to the smell for me. And I think after it's worn off, Rob would agree. Once it's sat and mingled with me for a little bit, it smells less like dill.
It does. My problem when Matt made me smell it, the first smell I smelled was dill because
On the shirt too.
well, and this is because when I lived in Auburn and we were in this dorm, Becky and I noticed we'd go travel somewhere. And I was like, why does our suitcase smell like dill? And then there was something in like the varnish or the polish they put on the floor in Auburn. It was really strong in our closet. So everything smelled like dill, which I was like, am I the guy who smells? I remember having friends in high school. It's like, they smell just a little bit like potatoes all the time. And I'm like, am I the guy where it's like, Rob smells like a pickle? And now Matt smells like a pickle.
No, but there are like those plug-in things that also leave a hint of dill on you when you've been in a room with them. So there's something about, I don't know if it's the sandalwood or what, but so we started researching scents and like differences between men and women. So we can talk about that in a second. But have you had an experience where like your wife has really liked a scent?
Yes. I've had one scent that my wife really likes.
How would you describe it?
Let's see if I can find it online. It was Swiss Army had like a cologne.
Okay.
And it was a little bit musky.
Mm-hmm. Which apparently is not what I thought it was now that we've read about what musk is.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Was it that one? Victorinox? Swiss Army? Et de Toilette? Maybe. Victorinox is the one who makes Swiss Army now, right? Classic. This is it. How do they describe this? It's long. It's for all skin types. It's not a tester. It's long lasting, and I can apply it to dry skin. Thank you, Amazon. Very descriptive. I can't tell what I don't know.
Doesn't have like any of the scents in it. Like,
no, it doesn't. This is totally useless. It's got a bunch of chemicals listed.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it smelled. I would say it smelled a little musky, a little, for lack of a better way to put this, light and warm. Like it was kind of I don't know. I say warm, almost like a fresh baked type, but it was a very mild cologne.
Yeah. Well, and now that I'm thinking about this, man. Sorry, but jumping back to smells that just instantly like make me want to go after it, like to figure. It's not even like, it's hard to describe. But there's another. There's a store up in the Heights in Houston called Man Ready Mercantile.
Okay.
And I just walked past their door and I'm like, want to go in there? It just smelled like something good was happening in there. And there really wasn't anything that great happening in there, but a bunch of like overpriced products. But like, it kind of just felt like, like the best way I can describe this scent to me and that other one was just like, manly things are happening over there. It really just felt like something like powerful, confident, and like
that's so interesting. I don't have
self-assured is happening right there.
I don't have that pull like when you're asking this cologne thing. I think no, I just want it to smell clean.
Well, and I think this is what I'm saying. I think there's there's many different things that a scent can satisfy. And this isn't one that this isn't one I typically interact with and think of that way, right?
Right.
But it's like I think it just like drew in a bunch of memories of like, especially that store of like
manly
just being with something that was like a guy that was much older than you, like his things. I like his possessions, his things he's going to show you. Like, check it out, man. Check out my collection. Check out like,
well,
like when old, leather whatever I have or gun or
Yeah.
it was just like or this cedar chest or something. It would just like
That's partly
drew me
why.
to yeah.
It's partly why I wanted to. I wanted when I was younger. I always wanted to drive like a leather interior
Mm-hmm.
luxury car, like a
Yeah.
Lexus.
Mm-hmm.
Not that luxury, but just like a Lexus, uh, and listen to smooth jazz
Yeah.
and have my car smell like really good, clean cologne.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was these dudes, I like uncles or things where I was like, that smells awesome. Like I want to be like you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep going with this. Let's forget our wives for a second.
The idea of being attracted to other men.
No, well, no, like the scent that has attracted your wife, because I think that has a very different function and purpose, right? But I think when you think about like smells like this that instantly kind of like transport you to maybe like a connection with or an admiration for or like an aspiration to be around a man in your life that was important to you or like smells like that. They don't have to be perfumes or colognes, but just
well, I can. That's mine. Is that the idea? Because if I go further, and it wasn't just I smooth jazz, but it was always like they always seemed like the car seemed to like envelop them, like they were one with it, and they'd move. It was like they were slow and deliberate in their movements, and they weren't in any sort of rush to do anything. Kind of like they are successful, and they've been successful, and now they get it kind of like and the smell of like sometimes almost too much cologne. It was like that's the smell of a successful man. Like I smell, I'm like, yes, you've got it.
Like no, that's funny. I remember going into a hotel one time, and just the lobby. It was some swanky hotel that for some reason was like cheaper than all the rest, and we stayed there. And because I was with my family, like wheeling a freaking cooler into the room and stuff, and I was like, I walked in, I was like, dude, it just smells like power and confidence in this place. Like
power and confidence. It's oozing out of the walls. Yeah, I don't know if I've had other smells besides that. Like that's the only thing that I associate with like that. That's something I aspire to be, and smell was a part of it.
Yeah, and I guess, or an experience or a memory. I think sometimes it can be like a mentor showing you something that just smells old, but like in a good way. I think it's a little bit of like this smells a bit old to me.
Yeah,
pickles brine for a long time, man.
What did you say? Pickles brine?
Pickles brine. The dill. I don't smell dill unless I'm really thinking about it, but it is kind of on the back end of it.
I don't even know if dill's the right word, but it just reminds me of so much of Auburn when we felt like we smelled like pickles.
Well, people have smelled it and said there's like some sort of spice element in it, but anyway, Mike, good smells and men go.
I mean, what Rob like there's three that stand out to me. One Rob already talked about, right? Like, and for me, I think I always associate it with Darius.
Yeah, he's a classy dude who always has.
Yeah,
he's got like multiple closets in the house, like 7 closets in their house.
Most of the closets in the house are now for his clothes.
Because he's always
and he like one of my favorite Darius stories is he's at Nordstrom Rack and some dude is suit shopping and Darius goes through and helps this guy buy like a suit, and the guy is like, okay, well, like whose name do I tell him when I go pay for all this? And he goes, oh, I don't work here.
He just knows clothes,
but he's really very stylish. Anyway, so there was that one. Our dad, like
he still wears
in the morning,
Sweet.
after he's like showered and shaved and.
He's got something now that's like you can smell it when he stays at your house. It's like, Dad's awake.
Yep. And my kids like freaking love it. And they'll every once in a while they'll like if they come into my room shortly after, like on a day when I've shaved my head and because I don't actually put lotion on every day, but when all of those scents come out, they're like, smells like Papa.
Yeah, I actually kind of want I want to overuse scents so that my kids can come in the room and think that smells like my dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which that's my kids have like now that we see our parents less. It started to shift to that where they're just like, oh, Dad, you smell good. Mm-hmm. And like I guess this has come up recently for them. Like Jenna and I were talking one day because I have. I bought watch bands, right? And it came with a pack of 4. And so I'll coordinate my watch bands depending on what I'm wearing for the day. Like I've got a gray one, and so I've got a gray suit, and I'll wear it when I wear the gray suit, and I've got a blue one, and I've got a white one, which I wear when I go to the temple.
Nice.
It's just in that bag all the time. Anyway, but like, you know, Jenna, she's like, I like that you care about all of that. And then apparently it was a conversation that repeated itself like a week later. My daughters were talking about it again, and we're like, oh my gosh, we really like that Dad does this stuff. So, but yeah, Dad is who I think of, right? Like that's the second one, is just that kind of, I'm ready for the day. It's a really good positive smell. And then the third one is a wood shop.
Yeah.
There's two wood shop smells, and probably anyone who's worked in a wood shop knows these two smells. There's the fresh cut wood smell. And then there's the sawdust and just general dust and sweat smell. That one's not pleasant. But the fresh cut wood, like I love like that smell. And so like a lot of the scents that I go after are that kind of, they'll involve wood of some kind.
Yeah.
Because I friggin', yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because as you talk about that, like I definitely identify with those smells, just from growing up. And, you know, my dad frequently smelling like that. And then just working with him and things. So like Home Depot, when I walk in, kind of has that just automatically like, or like, you know, any sort of lumberyard or anything like that. But Rob's dying over there.
I swallowed the water. I got a drinking problem.
But for my office, and I think this is more just like from my childhood, not necessarily associated with anybody in particular, but it was like associated with a lot of like male coaches, is the smell of leather and like kind of more earthy smells because of baseball. So for my office, like when I was in like that freaking swanky building before, I'd pick like Zen Spa or something like that, you know, that just kind of smells like calming, but also like there's maybe now that I know what musk is a little bit, maybe there's a little bit of musk in there, but for here, for a long time, this, if I just left this office alone without any like scented like wax warmer deals, it just smelled like fresh cut wood, really like greasy steel because of the pipes and stuff that I built stuff out of, and leather from the couches. So like Zen Spa would have totally clashed in here. And I think I tried it and it was like, yeah, this doesn't work. But I get like tobacco, rum, and leather. Anything in that family just smells really good to me in here. And I think it feels really grounding because it's tied to kind of a lot of those memories. And so anywho,
glorious. It's funny because I think like all those wood smells and things like that, those are, I don't think I have the same, I don't know what it is about that. I guess I wasn't around that as much.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the same, like, that means successful male to me.
Yeah.
I love those smells. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, my son right now, he just decided he's going to, you know, he took a construction class. So now he's building himself a bookshelf. So far he's got half done. I'm like, looks pretty solid, man.
Nice.
Like,
they offer that in school?
Yeah.
Wow.
They do a lot of stuff now. Like he's gotten these certifications for using the CAD program, like the architecture drawing stuff.
Yeah.
He's got a certification because he passed this exam. And
nice.
Whitney has multiple certifications in like Photoshop, and it's like, wow. My high school was like, you want to take the history of science fiction and literature? Yeah. Okay, I guess let's do this.
Shop. We'll show you how to build a really crappy step stool.
That's true. Or you can make a bridge out of toothpicks, and we'll see who holds the most weight. So
That was science class.
Here's what I wonder, because this is Matt. This is where we started with this, was like how women react to cologne.
Mm-hmm.
Because something that's been surprising to me is I like cologne, and I think because I grew up smelling it from my dad, and absolutely you can overdo it.
Yeah.
Like there's been a couple times when I've either been running or riding my bike where, like, I remember one time riding my bike and for a truck drove past me and I could smell his cologne very strongly.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going probably 65 miles an hour.
Wow.
And
too much cologne then?
And for about a mile afterwards, I could still smell very strongly his cologne.
Yeah.
So clearly too much cologne.
Mm-hmm.
It's like oozing out of his truck, or like he spilled the bottle.
Yeah.
But what's funny is, and it's not like Becky doesn't like cologne. I don't think she cares anymore. I don't think the cologne I wear, honestly, it's like you, like where you're like, I can't even, you wear cologne, Rob?
Yeah.
Like every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody ever smells it. It's, even though I put on a fair amount, it's very mild.
Uh-huh.
So, but Becky doesn't like when I spray it, because she's like, it's like, you don't like when I spray hairspray. I was like, that's true. Because it feels like I'm breathing in straight alcohol.
Yeah.
But I feel like more and more often, as we have this conversation too, it's like men like cologne on men. It doesn't feel like women. I feel like most women are like, no, I hate when men wear cologne. They always overdo it. I feel like I mostly hear complaints about men's cologne.
Yeah, because I think that's the interesting thing, though. I think the women I've talked to have said it is like a good cologne applied in the right amounts is like really, really enticing. But I think part of the problem is most guys probably way over apply it. So that's like their experiences primarily with situations like that. And it's like, I'd rather have nothing than that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, to me, I think there's the extreme of it, right? Like no one wants to be like, no person, but I think no woman wants to hang out with a dude who stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
right?
say there's
like,
probably more complaints about that than cologne.
Right. And so to me, I think if she has to choose between you overdid it on the cologne and you smell like.
Yeah. But I've heard the opposite. I have heard women say, I would rather spend time with a guy who smells off than a guy who is like way overdone the cologne, because it's overpowering and it feels like I can't be in this room.
That might be related to what we were talking about before. There are several studies, I guess, that show that women are like 1,000 times more sensitive to smells of musk, which are like in most colognes, than men are. So it might be like there's probably a very specific
might have a different sensitivity
amount that is effective, and more than that is very off-putting, because if you're that sensitive to something, like it could give you a headache, it could give you, but if it's faint, it's, we can get into pheromones in a second here, but so you were saying though, like, well, and I guess this goes back to that what I just said, the 1,000 times more sensitive, that like the sexy perfumes apparently are heavy on the musk, but men aren't really like attracted by that smell. So the article was saying maybe like it kind of puts women who wear those scents in a different space themselves. Like they're almost kind of like getting in the mood themselves because of what they are wearing. And then maybe the behavior that results from that is attractive, and then, but yeah.
I think
so.
Like having
that is to say, like when you were talking about men wearing cologne, like I wonder if they're just sense that when we put on, we feel like I feel confident. I feel like $1 million. Well, even everybody's like, oh man, you smell like a pickle.
Like that's what I do think it's true with a lot of times. Plenty of women will say like they like to wear lingerie because it makes them feel sexy.
Yeah.
So, and I can say when I put on cologne, I do feel more confident. Like I feel like, I guess it's like I feel like I care about what I'm putting on. And Mike, I laughed at your watch band thing, but I actually have 5 watch bands too.
Yeah,
they came in a pack from Amazon.
Apparently, I need to get another one.
Yeah, but actually, I only actually wear this one now because I like a fat watch band, and so that's all I really ever use. But I feel like I do like the idea of feeling like I understand. Like for example, right now, my socks. I just got to get that up there. Apparently,
Nobody can see your socks, dude.
Someone just did on YouTube. They're no-show socks.
I couldn't see them.
Which, as you guys, maybe you've seen this because social media is so dumb. This thing's getting. It's going to come popping off. Gen Z is.
There, I got it. Keep talking.
I'm going to hold it like I'm walking around the room. Gen Z has declared that like no-show socks are for boomers.
Yeah.
And it's only they all want to wear like socks that you can see sticking out, which I'm like, what, dude? We did that in the 90s. It was freaking atrocious.
Yeah.
But now I realize, like, no matter how good I think I look, I saw some guy walking into. It's like I saw some guy walking into Busey's, and he just looked comfortable. And I thought, I bet that guy feels like he looks good, you know, like. But somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, that guy looks so stupid," and I think, yeah.
What was he wearing?
Just wearing a t-shirt and shorts. But that's all I wear every day, and I was
going to say, what else?
I'm walking around feeling like I think I look good.
Yeah.
It's my favorite t-shirt and short outfit I got going right now. And people are like, "Stupid boomer," but I feel like it doesn't matter. I feel confident. Like the cologne, actually, I realized because it's not like I'm trying to attract other women.
Yeah.
And my wife doesn't really care. I don't know if she even really she smells it enough on me. She's not even going to notice it anymore.
Yeah.
But it feels like. It feels a little bit like, yeah, but I do it for me. It makes me feel like I'm keeping myself clean.
I was going to say, the few days that I have worn this, I find myself smelling myself and liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm not thinking at all, like, is this smelling good to other people?
Right.
I think unless you smell bad and you're self-conscious, like, oh man, are there people being put off by my scent?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the scent is much more for you than...
Probably. Like, I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think as you age or mature is probably the better thing. I think it becomes more for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, certainly I remember as a teenager thinking, oh, if I put this on, she'll really like it, right? This girl that I like or whatever, she'll really like it. It was much more for them. The scent, I didn't care so much. Somewhere it became what Rob's been describing. Where like, no, I do it for me. Like if my wife never says anything about my smell, like, great. I don't care. I do it for me. I do it because, like, if I'm doing something and I start to sweat, I want to smell the little bit of cologne that comes back up as I start to sweat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like on with my head, right? Because aftershave,
I always spritz on my head
when it starts
now.
to rain and it comes, like, I'll get it, coming down because a little bit of rain. I'm like, oh yeah. But it is much more for me, and it does make me feel confident. Like, it's funny. It's right. You brought up the lingerie thing with women, and some women wearing it because they feel sexy. Like, I've asked that to a couple of clients, like, hey, like, dudes, what makes you feel sexy? And they hate that question. Like, none of them know how to answer it. But I'm like, okay, fine. What makes you feel confident?
Yeah, or powerful.
Yeah.
Right. But I think, that's all it is. Like, that's the thing that if they were to, you could substitute the word sexy in for it. But again, the confidence, like, the more couples I talk with, the more that, like, with a dude, it's not like, sure, they love the lingerie, but they love the wife's confidence in the lingerie.
You know what's weird to me too? Total side note, kind of. Like, you wear cologne, you both wear cologne every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most days.
I mean, mine's, like I said, mine's usually body spray, but yeah.
I was going to say, like, Lisa's never ever given me any reason to feel this way. It's just my own, like I would think if I'm putting it on every day, she'd be like, who are you trying to impress? Like, who are you trying to attract? And I'm really like, I like to smell me. Like, I really just, like, that would be the reason I'd be putting it on, It's like we're saying, right? But it is, it's funny because if it's been marketed so much more the other way, put this on so that you will attract something. I wonder how much of it is just like, because in that light, if it is about attracting other people, especially with our natural scent, this cracked me up when I read it. Rob was sitting here and I read it to him already, but It's from the Social Issues Research Center. It's the Smell Report.
The smell reports.
But it's talking
Sounds
about
like something from
pheromones.
Colbert.
And so there's two male pheromones, androstenol and androstenone. Hope I'm saying those right. But
Not at all. It's
So-
embarrassing.
where's it at? It's talking about like what those. Okay, so basically, where is it at?
Androstafari.
Androstenol is the scent produced by fresh male sweat,
Oh yeah.
which is attractive to women apparently. But androstenone is produced by male sweat after exposure to oxygen, which is less fresh and perceived as highly unpleasant by females, except during ovulation. But basically, it's not that they're attracted to it during ovulation. They just go from negative to neutral.
It's just not repulsive.
Yeah, it's not repulsive, right? So,
Yeah.
because it's probably just like, evolutionarily speaking, like, whatever. Like, it's time to reproduce and you stink, but but this paragraph is awesome. It says, so men who believe that their macho, sweaty body odor is attractive to women are deluding themselves. And I'm trying to think of a guy who has said that. Maybe they're.
Oh, I think, dude,
I think
it's
I've
like
had guys like, yeah,
if I
smell
just,
manly.
yeah, if I
Like,
just got jacked
you
in
kind
the
of just
gym.
smell like nasty. But
Yeah.
anyway, it says unless they are, so it's going to be unattractive to women unless they are constantly producing fresh sweat and either naked or changing their clothes every 20 minutes to remove any trace of the oxidized sweat. Can I just, like,
So
like if
essentially,
this is about attracting other people, right? Like, that's, again, colognes are different, but I'm like, man, that's a lot of effort to just keep the fresh sweat going.
I mean, it could be an argument for perhaps it keeps arousal going if you have essentially like hot yoga but hot sex. You keep it extra hot in there, so you're constantly producing new sweat. You're naked, and so it just keeps the arousal going.
That's true, I guess.
But at that point, you're already there. So
Right. So, but with this, I'm like, but they don't mention, like, does a man who's freshly bathed, like, what impact does that have? And I think maybe that's where a lot of guys are probably exposing themselves to more scents, because a lot of male, like, body washes and things now have stronger scents than maybe they used to, or more like you have more choices. But yeah, going back to just thinking like how do I want to smell? Maybe what makes me confident and is it totally off-putting to those around me, or is it just they're kind of like, well, it doesn't do anything for me, but I'm glad you like it. And that's where I am with my pickle scent.
well, it's funny because it's your pickle scent. It's not even like, oh, it's like, oh, it smells a little like dill.
Mm-hmm.
But I've thought the same thing with because I wear cool water. I'm like,
wrong tube again.
Like I've thought before, if people smell me, are they like, you smell like the 90s, or you smell like a dad? Which I'm like, well, I am a dad, so it is what it is.
Appropriately smelly.
Which is funny because
Go ahead.
I think anyone because to me, I feel like scents is one of those things that has kind of tapered off. I don't feel like, I think in the 90s it was very common to have.
I'm sure there's probably
scents.
places where you'd smell a lot of it, but not maybe in our day to day.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
can tell you right now, like none of the 20-something clients that I work with, they never smell good ever.
But is that
like,
because
they don't smell
like
bad?
Okay,
They don't smell
I
bad,
was
but
like-
they don't come in smelling like cologne. And I think,
Yeah.
okay, so do you just not care?
No, but I kind of feel like that's partly what I mean. Like I felt like when I was in junior high, and not really as much in high school because my friends didn't care, but in junior high, it was like any dance we went to, it's like, all right, who's got what colognes? And it was always like, it was one of those three.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to smell good for ladies. And then I feel like you kind of feel like you grow out of that for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I did it a bunch when I was younger, but it felt like an older man thing to do. It felt like successful.
It does. And now that you're talking about the women that have said they don't like it, like it does in the wrong setting.
Yeah.
Cologne can read as like lack of confidence, because it's like, why are you trying to like, why are you trying so hard? Right. Just put some clean clothes on and take a shower. Right.
Yeah.
But I think if it's more like, Yeah, it's a tricky balance because
I know.
I think if it's just like you're saying, like if it's a subtle thing that kind of has become a part of you, that's like people just know, like, oh yeah, that's like you're saying, like, oh, Dad's awake, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Like that's just Dad's smell. That's
Right.
not. It's the cologne has become a part of you rather than you applying the cologne.
Right.
I think a lot of it too would have to do with, like, to me, like, we grew up with a mom who wore perfume.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like every day, mom wore perfume.
Like old lady perfume.
Just, I don't know, just her perfume.
It wasn't. It didn't.
Did it smell like powder?
It didn't feel. No.
Okay.
No, she wore Giorgio.
Hey.
Giorgio.
by Armani.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think, like, to me, and Jenner has a bunch of different body sprays and stuff that she'll put on.
That's okay. There you go. Body sprays, dude. My girls are all over the body sprays.
But what's the difference, though? Like, really, what's the big difference
I
between?
think it's just a
much
cheap
milder
perfume.
Yeah,
it's a much milder thing.
Yeah, so you just put more on.
Yeah, spend just as much because you're applying twice.
I
as
don't,
much.
but
Mike's an X-Man.
nope, still no. I'm telling you though, Bath and Body Works. No, but like I think a lot of it, right? I think
Wrong.
Someone who puts scents on will appreciate someone wearing a scent more.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't, they don't care because
I feel like
doesn't stand out to them. They don't do it.
Well, and here's what's funny to me too is, like, I think of the age differences. I think when I was in college, I feel like every woman I knew wore not necessarily perfume.
It's probably perfume then,
but body spray
or lotion, like really strong,
really strong lotion.
Like
yeah, that
Victoria's
was a big
Secret,
one.
Bath and Body Works.
My memory is like that, like vanilla
peach,
smell,
mango.
Yeah, there's vanilla is pretty big
everywhere.
For a while.
Yeah,
Pear Glacé was like my
There
favorite.
it is.
The
That was
girl
the
I
one.
dated and made out with a bunch in high school. She wore it all the time, and then my mom and all my sisters got it. I was like, "Oh, you guys got to stop!
That's
Smells
super
like
weird.
smells like make out." Like, but I feel like, and Becky had a bunch of different body sprays, but then she like stopped.
Yeah,
like ceased all of them. Like she doesn't like them anymore. And maybe it's like, because then it's maybe for women it's like you transition into old woman who smells like old woman cologne or old woman perfume. But for men it's like you've reached success, you've reached the pinnacle, and so as I mature, I grow a mustache and it's like masculine things. But for women it's like now you're not sexy, you just smell like old lady who smells like potpourri. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thought that I feel like I don't know a lot of women who wear stuff that you can smell anymore.
Yeah, but
maybe if I was on college campus, I would. I don't know, but maybe it is generational.
Well, and I also think
yeah.
like, and admittedly, I don't go to malls anymore.
But
there is
out.
There is a big difference between body spray and perfume or cologne. And I think if
it's
you
like
go to
drinking
like
a cup of apple juice or one that's been cut with water.
Okay.
Did you guys ever do that for your kids when you were younger? A lot of people like cut the juice with water because they're like, you don't need that much juice.
Cheap friends.
But it was right. Like if you walk into a Bath and Body, they don't sell a lot of perfume.
Yeah,
they sell a lot of body sprays, and they have some perfume. But the perfume, like for me to get a bottle of cologne from them. A bottle of body spray is like $15. Cologne is like $50. Yeah, spending $50 on cologne, I can get 3 bottles of body spray for that. And so, to me, I think there's some of it that is just I don't know. I'd be surprised to find out that perfume sold like it used to. Like I remember. The Kohl's by our house in Texas.
Keep talking. I want to Google that.
They stopped, like they slowly just kind of, you weren't able to have, they didn't have tester scents anymore. Like they just didn't, they kind of slowly phased it out until you couldn't get it anymore.
Dude, I'm looking at right now on Macy's.com. 25-piece fragrance sampler set for him. They have 25 different scents. I'm like, I'm going to buy this and pick one that I like.
What scents are
well,
in
this
there?
this was totally COVID related, but it says 2020 saw 55 to 75% decline in
Oh yeah,
cosmetic fragrances because everybody's.
yeah. No one's gonna.
But again, back to the point, right? Like, are you wearing it for somebody else? Or are you wearing it for you?
Apparently, there's a lot of people
Well,
wearing
that's
it
the
for
thing.
somebody else.
Yeah.
I was going to say none of this changed for me during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't stop wearing scents because it was COVID, but then again, I put them on for me. So,
So where did we arrive?
Smell like you want to smell. Well, I'll say this. I think smell is really important. Like, we didn't even get into, like, if we were looking at it in terms of, like, at least being neutral, having your impact around other people being neutral. But maybe more generally, just speaking to men, like, hygiene really matters, and maybe we need to stop, like, shunning each other for being hygienic.
Yeah.
And like,
and taking care of yourself.
Yeah, like, and maybe even getting a little bit excited about feeling confident spraying something on you that you like.
Yeah, makes you feel like $1 million.
Yeah, I think,
or 5.
I think, generally speaking, I don't know. Maybe it isn't super abnormal for guys to talk about this, but I think kind of the general perception would be like, guys don't talk about that. Guys shouldn't like spend time.
Agreed. I think that's
grooming
for sure.
themselves, all that, right? But
I was going to say for sure.
Yeah.
The question, right? Like, my thought was if the guy that you'd walked by in an elevator, this is what I was going to ask, had been someone not your brother, would you have even asked them about it?
I might have, but yeah, way less likely. I probably wouldn't even have the opportunity. But I think I'm getting to the point now where I do
You're
start conversations a lot more than I used to about stuff like that. But yeah, outside of like this experience of talking to each other and talking to a lot of other men, no way. I'd be like,
well, that's I remember we were on our way to Punta Cana, and this dude just had like the raddest frickin' like sweatpants, like they were like tracksuit. I don't know how to describe them. They were amazing. And so like I'm standing next to the guy and I just kind of tapped him and I said, I friggin' love your pants, dude. And he was clearly like, I don't know what to do with that. But then 2 minutes later, right? Then 2 minutes later, he's talking to me. But I'm like, oh, see, like, because I said this, when this thing happened, I was the guy you turned and talked to about it.
But I think unfortunately what happens is you can, like, I could stop a guy and say, hey, dude, that your cologne smells really good. What is it? Some random guy would be like, oh, it's this. I'd be like, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
But it'd be different for me. My buddies would sit around at lunch, be like, dude, I love putting on cologne. Which one do you like to put on? He'd be like, dude, stop. Oh, we're not talking about this.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen. Unfortunately. Should it? Probably.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, and maybe that'd be a weird thing to be like, hey guys, I put on cologne today. I feel really good about myself. But anyway, I do think it's an interesting conversation to think specifically, like, kind of like what you're saying. Well, hey, put it on if you want to put it on. If it makes you feel confident, then go for it. Now you could listen to somebody if they're saying you're kind of overdoing it. It's like, okay, I'll put a little less on. Maybe 5 spritzes instead of 7.
And that's to me, the really interesting conversation to have is, hey, what things make you feel confident? Like I'd like, that's a conversation I think, I'd actually like to have that conversation with a handful of my friends. Like, what are the things that make you confident?
Get a microphone, get out there.
Plan on that.
Plan on that. And then Spacemen, plan on our signature scent, the Manspace. Smells like sandalwood and a bathroom.
And a bathroom or a bathrobe?
Bathroom. I don't know which is worse. This smells like an old bathrobe. And then come back and catch us next time on the Manspace. Can you smell what the Rob is cooking?